what do you want to talk about? Like, there's a lot of insanity that has ensued. Do we need to start just on the happy side of things and talk about your team? Like, are you happy with the Bruins for once?
Yes, I would say, given time to think about it more, I think they got significantly better. They filled a big need at center, and Nikita Zadorov instantly makes your blue line better. I don't think they necessarily needed to go out and give all that money to someone for the blue line. The goddamn internet, I'm losing it. I'm losing my mind. I don't know if it's happening. I don't know if I'm here.
You're here.
I did. I not on my end. It was a disaster.
It got weird, but at least like you didn't leave or threaten to do anything to yourself, which you will not do while we're live. So continue.
I will not do that. But given time, I am now obsessed with Nikita Zadorov. First of all, the sound bites have been absolutely incredible. And apparently him and LIndholm talked about signing for Boston in the middle of the fucking year, which is very funny. They were like, in Butler, this would be a pretty cool place to play if we came here. They also just been following each other around for the last 3 years, which is also very funny to me. But like the comments coming out from Nikita Zadorov, he might be the meanest player in the league next year because he is clearly like just so fired up to be in Boston. And like the first thing he says is like, first of all, like all the other teams, everyone's always called me Big Z. Please never call me that again. I absolutely will not be called Big Z in Boston. There's only one. I am not remotely close to him. He's one of my favorite players of all time. So I was like, let's go.
Does that mean you won't use Zadorov as a temporary profile picture?
No, I will not. I haven't changed it once. I can't now. The one thing I'm going to have to change, which we will talk about in a second, I'm going to probably have to change my banner photo. That really sucks for me. Pretty sad. It's been my favorite picture. It's just like Jake DeBrusk, like 8 years ago, tweeting #LoveTheBoys. It's an all-time tweet from Jake DeBrusk when he was like 19 years old. I'll have to change that probably. But like for the past 4 years, I've been that annoying prick on Twitter, not calling it X ever. Go fuck yourself, Elon. But every time if I'm checking Twitter and I just happen to see that when it was, the Avalanche, the Blackhawks, the Flames, or the Canucks, like tweeting a video of Zadorov, like, oh, here's Big Z, I would quote tweet it every time, like, delete this. You delete this right now. There's only one.
I do the same thing for a more iconic player because everyone tries to say Kirill the Thrill, which is blasphemous. Blasphemous until, it'll still be blasphemous, but as long as Phil Kessel has not officially retired from the NHL, you do not refer to anyone else as the Thrill. That is sacrilege.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Well, people are still going to do it, but just know that you're wrong.
Yeah. But no, again, like, I think the fact that, giving LIndholm, I think they gave him 7 years. He's going to be 30. Same time, cap's going up. So, realistically, it's unlikely he sees that full contract out. But they got him for under $8 million at one point when he was going off in Calgary, the year that it was him, Johnny Hockey, and Matty Tkachuk. Like, he was asking for $9.5. That would have been actually even at points last year before, like in the beginning of the year, he was like he wants 9.5 on an extension. I was like, oh my God, don't do that. But again, the fact that get him under 8 and he more than fills a role that they desperately need. It also means Matt Poitras doesn't need to be leaned on as like a top 6 center coming back from injury. Like, he looked good last year, given like a pretty generous role. And now they can also push Zacha out to the wing. Like, he looked okay at center when it was like when Bertuzzi got traded to Boston. It was Bertuzzi, Zacha, Pastrnak. That line was outrageous. But like, again, Zacha still can play center if you need him to, but now you can push him to the wing and let him play with LIndholm and Pastrnak. And LIndholm is kind of like the poor man's Bergeron, just in terms of like a style. gives you really good two-way play, but I think his offensive upside is probably like quite a bit higher just in terms of his natural offense. So again, fills a big role or big hole in their lineup. Like they've been needing that center for a long time. They also go out, they draft Dean Letourneau. If he hits, that's a top 6 center for the future. So again, I think now they still have space to get Swayman done hopefully soon. We'll see what happens. But they also bring in Max Jones, bottom 6, another big guy, super physical. Like I hate when people say former, by the way, first round pick. He's like, you don't unbecome a first. Like it's not like you like he was. Now he's not.
I also love that too because it's like no one's ever going to be like, oh yeah, Alex Ovechkin, former first round pick,
former first overall pick.
Saying this guy used to be good, and now he's not. But we want to remind you that at one point he was.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of rude to call someone a former first round pick because you're basically insinuating like, yeah, you wouldn't know that they were a first round pick, but they were.
Right. It's just like, who started this? Like who decided that we needed to go former? Like at one time he was considered a first round pick. No, he was one. But it's interesting too. They also bring in Jordan Osterley for like, they needed like depth on defense too. He's going to be like your 7th D. And you still have Witherspoon who signed last year. He looked really good when he played, but they give themselves depth. Didn't go overboard in terms of money. And they made their 2 marquee signings early, so that's always good. So overall, I like what they did. I mean, I was nervous about giving big contracts to a guy like LIndholm, a guy like Zadorov, but again, the money isn't crazy. And again,
LIndholm is very reasonable. And now you got the 2 Lindholms. The brothers are united, the twins.
Yeah.
All right. So in the Atlantic, do you feel like anyone else had not big, like a lot going on, but like anyone else that you think made enough of a splash to make like a notable difference for their trajectory this year?
I will say, in terms of the Atlantic, it feels like all the other teams just had weird strategies. Like Toronto just goes out and brings in a bunch of defensemen. In theory, like filling holes, but then also like giving Timothy Liljegren like more than a 2 times raise when he was getting scratched in the playoffs. And they bring in Hakanpää, who's going to be like a 6-7. Like the one thing that keeps happening now that the cap's going to go up incrementally here and like to the max, I guess, next couple of years, is teams are now like pretty comfortable giving guys that are like 33, 34, 35, like pretty long extensions. Like they don't care anymore apparently about the term. It feels like that's what happened in a few, like with a few different teams. So that's interesting to me, but like Toronto's going to have to figure out what they're going to do up front. Like, I think that Domi extension was a good piece of business for him. Like, didn't give him crazy turn. Didn't give him crazy dollars. I think my internet's crashing again, so that's awesome.
No, you're good right now. What did it end up at? What did they give him? Like, say these out loud for everyone that doesn't know.
I think Domi was 4 years, like, just under $4 million.
Okay, so pretty much what he asked for. He wanted a 4x4.
Which he wanted, like,
Bill. He should have just come to Bill.
He got 4 years, 3.75.
Okay.
At one point, apparently, he was asking for like 6.
But it was rumored as like much as like a week or two ago that like he would be happy to stay in Toronto for a 4x4.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of the player that they needed up front, like that guy, the only thing he wants to do is win a cup in Toronto. Like they really, really needed a guy like that.
Kind of like Tampa, a guy like Stamkos.
Yeah, something like that. But like, I mean, I guess it all comes down to what the hell they're gonna do with Marner, because when you look at even like their lack of success in the playoffs this year, especially, didn't come down to defense. That wasn't the problem. Like the Bruins had a couple games where they went off because of the goaltending, which they kind of fixed, I guess, sort of a little bit. But they couldn't score. They couldn't do anything in the power play. And and they haven't really made any changes up front. Like, they're going to have to figure that out. Nick Robertson also wants out. Like, so I think that's been an interesting strategy to me. And then I think I've been saying it on every podcast you and I have done when we talk about the Detroit Red Wings. I've been questioning the Yzer plan for 2 years now. Like, what the hell is going on? They have now 4 goalies. That's what they decided to.
A very interesting cast of goalies too.
Yeah, and like the one thing that really sticks out now that the draft has happened, Guentzel signed in Tampa Bay. Why the hell did they need to attach a 2nd-round pick this year for Jake Wallman to leave and just get back nothing? When he was the one defenseman that this year, when he played with Mo Seider looked like Mo Seider again. I have no idea what their strategy is anymore. Like,
it's draft well and then do everything else wrong. It's kind of like so again, everyone just heralds and thinks that Jim Rutherford is like flawless, like everything he does is perfect. In Pittsburgh, if he made a trade, it was a banger of a trade. If he signed someone, 90% hit rate that it was an awful signing. Like, even if you thought it was a good signing, it was going to end up being a bad signing. And Steve Yzerman's kind of got the flip. He appears to do really well in the draft. And then everything else he does, signings and trades, just seems like a huge miss. Like,
yeah.
Look at what he's done with his blue line. Like, there's a lot of guys on that blue line that you and I have laughed about many a time.
Sometimes I remember it and I start laughing again. I'm just laughing. I'm like, oh, what the fuck are they doing? Yeah, I like, realistically in the Atlantic, I don't really see, like, I mean, Guentzel to Tampa Bay is awesome, obviously, but at the same time, they still did what they did with Stamkos and Sergachev. And I mean, like, the Jurgensen signings is interesting. I don't think you need to give him like a 3-year deal. Like, he's a good bottom 6 guy that, I don't know. But the Atlantic, I don't know. Like, Ottawa, again, they bring in Perron. The Amadio signing's interesting, I guess. Like, I think it was 3 years, 2.25. He looked like good in the limited role in Vegas.
What was their return for Chychrun? Because I'm going to be honest, I've only followed like half of what's happened. It's been so much gone on today.
I think they brought back Nick Jensen, who's a real nice player for them, actually.
Solid,
That's a good piece. He's a really, really good right shot D-man. And then a 2nd-round pick, I think.
Okay.
And I mean, realistically, they weren't going to get a crazy big package when it was like, he clearly is not what he's like. It was crazy to me that, like, in his exit interview or like the exit post, I don't know, like his presser or whatever, they were like, you thought, like, how's your time been in Ottawa? Like, are you going to be interested in like re-signing here, or are you looking to go elsewhere? He's like, yeah, I'm basically looking to like check out anywhere else. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, if you're Ottawa fan, you're like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, don't say that. That's like when Laine was in Winnipeg. They were like, how do you feel about Winnipeg? I have nothing bad to say about Winnipeg. It's like, bro, say anything else. Just make something up. Like, anything else would have been way better than what just came out of your mouth.
No, it's not even that.
Like, it's crazy.
It'd be even better if he's just like, I won't say anything bad.
Is this on the record? Yeah, man, this is an organized interview. Like, this is a special. Yeah.
No. He steps up to the mic. He's like, like this off the record. They're like, huh?
The live TV can't, like, you want us to, we're not going to turn that off. It's like, all right, well, yeah, fuck it.
No,
you know what?
Cameras. I care about the record. Is it off of the record? They're like, sure, Patrick, it's off the record, man. I don't know.
Does he know? Does he know what the record is? Does he know what that means? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, in the Atlantic, there's been some interesting moves, I guess.
Inactive, Montreal inactive, Florida gets the big swing done with Reinhart, right?
Yeah.
Did they do anything else?
Yeah, they brought in like a bunch of depth pieces.
No, but
So they bring in?
Did they do anything with any of their existing players?
I don't think anything official.
Okay,
off the top of my head. But we were talking like I thought about this more, and it kind of hit me this morning. They like the Buffalo Sabres really didn't need to buy out Jeff Skinner at all.
Either that or they've got trade plans in the works. Because like, look at their blue line. Like, look at their forwards, both active roster and in their prospect pool. There's a lot of redundancies. They're overstacked in certain spots. Like, they've probably got something big cooking. Because so my buddy, my college roommate, one of my best friends, he is a diehard and literally he dies every year, Buffalo Sabres fan. And he was texting me because he asked me, he's like, yo, I missed most of the draft because he works out in Grand Tetons National Park and like studies glaciers, apparently, like pretty fucking cool job. And he's like, yeah, I was out in the backcountry. I missed a lot of it. Like, what'd you think? I'm like, well, they picked a really good player in the first, but he pretty much like aligns with everything else that they already have in their pool. He's like, yeah, that checks out with what they do every year. And he basically said, if they don't make the playoffs, I'm pretty sure their GM's getting fired this year. So he has to make a desperate move. He's going to make a big swing to try and do something noteworthy to drag this team over the line to at least flirt with playoffs.
How many more years did they have? Was Skinner's deal?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, they just locked themselves into it's only 1.5 this year. Then the next year, it's 4.445. Then the year after that, it's 6.5.
But then it's 2.5.
But
his total was 9.
I don't think they needed to do that.
I don't think they needed to. It must have been something.
Not this year.
But maybe it was a combination of like the player wanted out. They also wanted him out and they needed immediate cap relief for something they're working on. I don't know. And did he officially sign with Edmonton?
Yeah.
Fuck that.
1 year, $3 million.
Fuck that. Ugh, I hate that. All right, we'll get to them later. Anything else in the Atlantic? Like we've got, let's see. I mean, we've already talked a little bit about Tampa. If you guys want to hear about Tampa, go to Fellowship of the Rink, which again, as we mentioned before, if we hit 150 subscribers before this weekend, we will be dropping the Riley Heidt interview next week. Everyone's going to want to hear that. I'm telling you, just from that interview, he might be my favorite Wild prospect now. He is a beauty beyond what he already does on the ice so well. So check that out. Subscribe. Thank you all. Red Wings we talked about. Canadiens, nothing noteworthy, or did I miss something?
Well, they just re-upped Slafkovsky to a big monster deal.
Talk more.
So they gave him 8 years, 7.6 million. And that starts after next season. So, I mean, again, like if he had a big bounce back, like again, year one did not go well, mostly because he definitely did not need to be in the NHL. This year, I think he had a real strong second half. If my computer works again, there we go. He put up 50 points this year in 82 games.
That still seems like a big commitment.
I mean, if he hits
again, I understand what they're going for, but like they've got a lot of long-term deals signed for guys that like I think are no shit like NHLers, but it's like, are they going to be the guys that drive shit for you?
They've only got 2 other forwards locked up beyond the next 3 years.
Is it only the 2? I know for sure Suzuki and Caulfield. Those are the only ones.
Other than that, Gallagher's locked up to 27, Anderson's locked up to 27, and then Newhook's at 2.9 until 27. Other than that, like it's only those 3.
All right. Oh, and they got nothing else. Okay, I take it back. Sorry. I thought
so.
more guys on really long commitments. I
Right.
apologize immensely. I was very wrong.
And when you look at what's coming, like Demidov's coming, Haig's coming.
Dude,
like,
it sounds like the trade was way closer than people realize for Chicago to move up and get Demidov.
Yeah.
Which makes no fucking sense if you're Columbus. I'm sorry. That would be such a dumb trade.
So, I mean, again, like on a terrible Montreal Canadiens team, that kid bounced back after like a terrible rookie year where he was like rushed to the NHL, got hurt like 3 different times, plays all 82 this year, puts up 50 points on a terrible team, and they're only going to get better as these young prospects start coming through. I think you lock that guy up. You lock that guy up for 8 years at 7-6. You are loving life. So I totally get the gamble.
Sorry.
But in terms of like other free agent guys, like, yeah, they didn't do anything.
No, fair enough. Okay.